Hello. Today I'm going to take you through different situations that you could come across when solving problems that have to do with circles. All right? First of all, there's only a few things that you can be asked about on a circle problem. We've got circumference, diameter, radius, and area. Those are the only things that happen with a circle. That's it. So please refer to your glossary in your textbook or Google it or whatever for the definitions of these things. I'm going to be talking about them as they come up during these problems. Okay? For example, here you're given the radius of a circle and you could be asked to find the other three things. Okay? So you could be asked to find area. What is the area? Well, if you download the Mega Math song, r squared times pi, you would know the answer. R squared times pi. Okay? Now up at the top, you'll see that I have pi equals pi, but pi does not equal 3.14. 3.14 is a common estimate used for pi for doing calculations like this. So that's what I'm going to use for all of these problems. Depending on the problems you're working on, what book you're working out of, it may tell you to use the pi button on your calculator, and that's fine. So here we go. Since the radius is 8, we're going to go 8 squared times 3.14. And that equals almost 201, and since we're talking area, that's units squared. Okay, so that gives us one answer. What's left? How about diameter? Okay, diameter equals 2 radii, or 2 of the radius measurements. Okay, so all the way across is diameter. So in this case, it's just going to be 2 times 8, which is 16 feet for this problem. And then finally, what's left? We've got area, we've got diameter, radius, circumference. Circumference is diameter times pi, meaning that if you say you cut a piece of string that was as long as the diameter, it would take a little more than 3 of those. There's 1, 2, 3, and there's the 0.14, right? 3 and a little bit extra diameters to make it all the way around the circle. That's what that means, but from a calculation standpoint, all we do is take the diameter times that, and for this problem, we get a little bit over 50. That's a one-dimensional measurement, and that's that. All right. On to the next problem. If you need to soak that one in a little bit, just pause the video, okay? Go over the steps, rewind it if you need to. Start from the beginning. Here's another problem. Sometimes you'll be given the diameter, and we need to find area, circumference, and radius. I always like to start with the easiest thing first. So I'm going to start with radius. Since diameter equals 2 of those, I can also write a formula for radius, just using algebra here. If I divide both sides by 2, I get radius equals diameter divided by 2. So I'm going to use that. So in this case, diameter is 13. All right. Now I can use radius is 13. Only get one take here. Get it right. Radius is 13. Now that I have radius, we go back to the song, right? R squared times pi. So I'm going to go ahead and do the area next because I have the song in my head. 13 squared times 3.14. That makes 169, because remember, squaring is a number times itself. It's two-dimensional, therefore it's units squared, centimeters in this case. So we got radius, area. Now we need circumference, which, as we talked about above, is diameter times pi. Since we're given the diameter 26, this is the easy one here. I guess they're all easy, aren't they? As long as you know what the relationships are between the things, all of these are basically the same. There's the circumference, or the distance around the circle. All right. I've got two more lined up for you, so here they come. Another situation you could run into is, given the circumference, what are the other measurements of this circle? In other words, I want the area. What is it? I want the diameter. And of course, once I find the diameter, I can find the radius. Okay, you can go in any order you want to here. But when I see circumference, what I think about is diameter, because I know that circumference equals diameter times pi. Okay, so I'm just going to substitute what I have for what I don't have. Circumference, I have 65. Diameter, I don't know. And for pi, I'm going to use 3.14. So if I just use my algebra knowledge, instead of memorizing a bunch of formulas, you just use your algebra knowledge, and you know, hey, if I just divide both sides by 3.14, that's going to give me the diameter. I could also just create a formula for diameter by doing this. I divide both sides by pi. Then those go away, right? And there's a brand new formula for me. Better than memorizing it is actually knowing how these things relate to each other and knowing your algebra. Okay, so we go back over here. 65 divided by 3.14 is a little bit more than 20. Okay. Once I have that, I go cut it in half to give me the radius. And then we go back to the song, right? Once you know the radius, you should be able to figure out the area, r squared times pi. Just substitute our answer from over here, square it, and we're going to use that common estimate of 3.14. And the answer in this case is 336 and 36/100ths. Okay, hopefully all these problems are kind of starting to look the same. Here's a situation that could happen to you, but it usually does not, but I want you to be prepared for it. If you're given the area, find all the other things. Find circumference, diameter, and radius. So you remember, area is r squared times pi. Let's just do some substituting here and use our algebra skills to isolate the r, or the radius. Okay, we already know the area, so I substitute that. We don't know the radius, but we do know what we're going to use for pi. So we've got that, and we're multiplying here, of course. So I could just use my algebra skills, divide both sides by my estimate for pi here. And what I get is r squared equals 64, right? Because this went away, turns into a 1, and then this over here, that's where I got the 64. Now the inverse operation, that's all we need, our algebra skill of using inverse operations to solve a problem. What's the inverse of squaring something? Well, the square root, or taking the root of something. So if I take the root of both sides What I end up with here is just r, because the signs go away, and that's what's left. And then I use the button on the calculator, square root of 64, radius equals 8. That's how you can work backwards from having the area. Using algebra skills, inverse operations, now we have the radius. I know that diameter is 2 of those, so I'm just going to do that really quick. Diameter is 16, and of course once we have the radius, by now you know the song. If you don't, you gotta download it, it's so good. Okay, r squared times pi. 8. Wait, we already know the area, right? It was given to us. What are we missing? Circumference. Okay. Circumference equals diameter times pi. 16 times 3.14. Calculator out here, and we get 50 and a quarter inches. Always have your units labeled. That's it. That covers it. So go back and review these things, and what we've done here is created 4 problems that cover every possible angle you could have with a problem or on a test. There are only 4 variables you can have in a circle problem: circumference, diameter, radius, area. And using your algebra skills, you should be able to find any of those as long as the problem gives you one of them. Get one and you give 3. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.